I think we can start with the agenda today, and we have the first presentation on the half-yearly analysis. I don't know who's gonna start. Is it operations? Is it data analytics? Who's gonna go
Oscar,
first?
Uh,
Oscar is the star with the Oscar.
Oscar is the star. Okay. Oh, Oscar, do you need to share anything?
yeah, I'll need to share my screen.
All right, so I've made you co-host,
Okay.
and you should be free to start sharing.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, a very sexy dashboard, if you can say so.
All right, all right. Yeah, so hello everyone. So I will be walking everyone through our 2025 payment and task analysis dashboard. So I'll be doing this in a very simple way. So for each chart, I will explain what we see, what really means underneath, and what we should do next so the system stays fair, disciplined, and also delivery focused. So with the first thing I would want to talk about is the summary for the year of 2025, where in the first half we made total payments of 203,730.80. In the second half, we made total payments of 294,894.30. And the average hour per person in the first half was 2.35. And the average hours in the second half too was 2.76. For the number of paid members in the first half, we had a number of 72. And for the number of paid members in the second half was 84. And with the bonus distribution too as well, in the first half, we distributed total of 16,460.32. And in the second half, there was a distribution of 49,275.42. So I'll get right into it with our bar chart over here. So I explain what we see. So the budget allocation, as we all know, was set for circles only. So when we compare budget versus the spend by circles, we are judging circles against the circle budget. However, the total amount paid in 2025 also includes every payment that we made. And we have to bear in mind that the payments were not only made to circles. So the payments also included other work groups and also the labs too as well. So to keep it transparent, we need to separate those non-circle payments for the community to further understand. So in the second half, DF Labs was the biggest for non-circle, where a total payment of 45,807.80 was made, and other non-circle work groups, including the RFP factory, $220 was made. For the internal communication as well, $630 was made. And the decision-making work group as well, $245 was made. So together, these non-circle payments add up to 46,902.80. The message over here is quite clear. So the money is all part of the 2025 total, but it should also not be treated as the circle overspend because it was never in the circle budget in the first place as well. And to make the circle picture even clearer, if we subtract the 46,902.80 non-circle payments from the total 2025 payments of 49,625.10, it means the actual amount of money that was allocated to circle members was 451,722.30 across the year. In the first half, total payments made was 203,730.80. The second half, the total payments, including both circle and non-circle payments, was 294,894.30, which amounts to a 44.7% increase in the second half. So the extra money in the H2 is explained almost perfectly with extra hours, meaning this is mainly a scale up in paid activity rather than a change in pay rate. And what drove the extra hours is two things moving forward. So the paid member increased from 72 in first half to 84 in second half. And the average hour per member also increased from 2.35 to 2.76, which is a 17.3% rise in that. So we had both more people being paid and also more work per person in the second half. What we can do going forward is we should provide a very simple way of tracking these three things together, like if it can be every month or bi-monthly. So we can be tracking the payouts, the hours, and the delivery output. So the growth is always explained by delivery. With the monthly payment trend line, it tells us how controlled our spending was in 2025. So in the first half, payments jumped up and down a lot. January alone, a total payment of 69,896.10 was made, and it quickly dwindled to 19,864.80 in February, and also 12,763.70 in March. So with swings like this, I would like to also say that most payments made for January were as a result of backlogs from 2024. And that's what we can tell. So most was, I think, over 85% of payments were coming in from tasks in 2024. That's why we see a high amount of payments made over here in January. In second half, the monthly average is higher, but the spend behavior is more stable. So we can see peaks like October and which is at 60,696.50, and December, which is at 63,230.70. But the overall pattern is less chaotic as compared to the first half. And volatility also reduced sharply because, as you can see, we have a steady line over here with the increase in payments for the second half. So H1 also had 3 times relative volatility than the second half as well, meaning the second half didn't just scale, but it also scaled with more discipline. Moving forward with this one too as well, anytime we see a peak month, we should also record one simple note, so we can keep into account what circle drove it, what work caused it, and whether it was planned or not. So spikes become predictable instead of surprising moving forward. For the task category by amount, so this chart shows a clear view of how we work story. In the first half, the biggest spend categories were meetings and calls, which a total of 45,428.50 was paid, which amounts to 22.3% of all paid amounts in first half. And the second was reviews, which was 29,659.50, which amounts to 14.6%. And with coordination, which stands at 25,800.60, which is 12.7% of all paid tasks concerning that. That mix usually describes a community spending more time on alignment, communication, and processes in general. For second half, the picture shifts massively. Although we still have meetings and calls still leading at the top over here with 56,947.60. But the standout change is in the development and testing, as you can see over here, which stands at 52,837. So it jumps about 4% in first half to about 18% in the second half. At the same time, reviews also dropped heavily in share, which suggests less time consumed by review-heavy activity relative to total work. So all in all, this suggests one thing, right? So we can say that this suggests a community that moved from a planning and alignment phase in the first half to a more delivery and implementation phase in the second half. So going forward, we can make this even clearer by linking each task category to visible evidence, meeting decisions, review outcome, and also our delivered build testing work. So a simple monthly spend to work to output summary would make it easy for anyone to see exactly where the money and hours went. For the expenditure versus budget by circle, I'll be looking at both the first half and the second half too as well. So in the first half, most of the spending was concentrated in a few circles. That was review, marketing, and events. And that's not automatically a bad thing. I mean, it often means that these circles were carrying a lot of the workload. So what this suggests is that the workload likely grew faster than the budget assumptions in some moments, or the scope expanded as needs came up. So going forward, a light monthly budget check-in for the biggest spend circles, paired with a short note like what was delivered this particular month summary, would also help keep things predictable and also transparent. For the second half, the spending is shared across a few key circles too as well. So we have review, we have review over here, we have marketing, IT, and also DF Labs too as well. So DF Labs is the only non-circle that is amongst the highest spend circles. So the simple takeaway we can have is that the second half wasn't coming from one place. The spending wasn't coming from one place. It was spread across delivery heavy areas. So we have governance and reviews, technical build work, growth and communication, and also platform support. When we look at all this underneath, the pattern is that most of this spend is tied to real output work. So review and DF Lab reflect delivery and governance workload. Marketing reflects outreach and execution, and IT reflects their build and support work like development and testing, and also the technical support that they've been providing to us as well. So what we can do next is, for any circle that becomes an outlier, we can simply provide a simple two-part explanation to the cause and delivery proof of whatever it is that we worked on or whatever it is that caused the outlier. So that is it for this first page. I'll be moving to the second page to look at the payment over time by circles. So with the payment over time by circles, this chart helps us understand why some months look higher or lower than others. In any system, I mean, the areas doing the largest share of work will automatically create the biggest movement on the trend line. So when circles like review, labs, marketing, and IT also take on more tasks, run into heavier workloads, or deliver major milestones, the overall payment for that month will actually reflect it. The helpful part of all of this is that it makes the planning a bit easy, and it helps us also separate the normal healthy peaks from unexpected spikes as well. So if a peak is tied to planned delivery, I mean, that's fine. We just want it to be visible early so expectations are aligned. And a simple improvement going forward is to add a light heads up routine for bigger workload months. So a quick early forecast, a short note on what's driving the increase and what outputs we expect from it. So that way the community can clearly see the reason behind changes as well. So for the bonus allocation for the year of 2025, in the first half, we had a total disbursement of 16,460.32, which was shared across multiple circles, as we see over here. And in the second half as well, total disbursement of 49,275.42 was also shared across circles over here. As we all know, the bonus system was implemented quite in the latter part of the second half. So yes, that's why we see the large difference in bonus being paid in the first half and in the second half as well. And the last thing that I'll be taking us through is the member allocation amount distribution. Yeah, right. So for that, this section is showing how payments were shared across contributors in first half and the second half too as well. So we can think of it as a fairness and also a participation check. So what we need to ask are a couple of things. So the first thing we can ask are most people stuck in very low payouts, or are more people earning in the middle ranges or higher up? So the chart groups people into payout bands, and the summary stats also help us describe the pattern clearly. So in the first half, the numbers tell a top-heavy story, right? So the average payout is around 2,037.31. But the median, which is like the middle person, is earning just around 671.50. So the gap of 1,365.81 is the signal that a smaller group of higher earners is pulling up the average, while many contributors sit much lower. You can also see the spread is already large in H12 as well, with a standard deviation of 3,329.86, and the maximum spend also reaching 14,927.50. So earnings were quite uneven in this half. Moving on to H2. In H2, the system looks more healthier for participation. So the average payout rises to 2,948.94, which is about 44.7% increase from the first half. But the bigger story we can take from this is the median also rising to 1,461.25, which is a massive 117.6% increase from what we had in the first half. So that tells us that improvement is not only at the top, but typical contributor also earns significantly more in the second half, meaning more people moved into meaningful earning bands rather than just stay in low pay ranges. And what makes this especially convincing is that the top didn't explode. The maximum payout only moved slightly from 14,927.50 in the first half to 15,377.80 in the second half, which is about 3% increase, while the spread increases only modestly in the standard deviation from 3,329.86 to 3,570.22, which is about 7.2%. So the strongest interpretation we can have over here is that the second half growth was driven mainly by broader participation and a stronger middle tier, not only a few people simply like earning massively more. So all in all, I would say that underneath all of this, H2 grew mostly because I mean we had two drivers moving together, which was more paid contributors and a higher average workload per contributor, which means the system scaled through both participation and effort, not just bigger payments at the top. The second message I would like to also share with all of us is from the dashboard is the control and maturity. So H1 looks volatile mainly because I mean the January spike that happened actually caused most of this volatility, which includes the backlog from 2024. So payment swings sharply from month to month. And also H2 is higher on average, but it's more stable, meaning the system didn't just grow, it just grew with more like discipline. So when we look at how the work changed, we can say H1 is heavier on alignment, meetings, and reviews, and coordination too as well. But H2 shifts strongly into delivery with the major rise in the development and testing, while the spend in H22 is also spread across the circles doing the biggest execution work like review, marketing, IT, and also labs. And finally, what I would like to add is the fairness and incentive story also improved. The member allocation distribution also looked much healthier in H2 because the median payout rises, which I mean means the typical contributor earned more and the middle band also strengthened. So yeah, that is it from me.
All right. Thank you so much, Oscar. Let's if you guys can, let's clap for Oscar and for all the work done by analytics, data analytics, not just
Not
Oscar.
just analytics. I mean, it was a close collaboration between operations and analytics.
Okay, so clapping for operations as well. Thank you. Are there any questions for Oscar?
Yeah, just can we get a link to it because it was a little bit tricky to see sometimes because
I'll provide it
on a small screen. All right, nice one.
Right. Thank you, Vanny. Any more questions, guys? I guess the silence means no. Yeah, we have Vanny.
Yeah,
Oh,
sort of. There's just a little issue that I just want to raise. It's like we can look at how much we spend and how much individuals earn and all that kind of thing. But in future, we're going to have to link this somehow to effectiveness and impact. Because you don't know, if somebody's earning loads and they're being really effective, that's really different from them earning a bit and being not very effective. See what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, when I was going through the presentation, I made mention of us actually aligning our hours with proof during the presentation. So I made mention of it. Yeah. So yeah, I agree with that.
and maybe on that, Oscar, how do you think that can be done? Because it seems very hard to do that in a way that's not too bureaucratic, right? Because then we come into that problem of wasting a lot of time doing the bureaucracy or proving you've done something instead of focusing on actually doing things.
Yeah, so with that, we are having a close collaboration with the impact measure board from the labs, where we'll be able to tie the input of circles to the output and what they've been able to achieve over a period of time. So we are still working on that. When the whole system is ready, I think we'll let everyone know. Yes, Vani?
Can I just say though, in measuring impact, we don't need we shouldn't be looking at outputs, we should be looking at outcomes. Outputs are what you produce, but they may or may not be useful. And we need to be thinking about how our impact and our actual outcomes, the results of what we do, relate to what we intend to do. So, kind of tracking, proving that you did this work or that work is not the issue in my mind. It's definitely about, okay, was the work useful and what did it lead to? Not prove that it was done.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. So actually it's in stages, right? So I would like to walk you guys through a bit. So when we are talking about the input over here, I mean, the input basically means the hours that person logs against a particular task that they do. The outcome is, okay, so I spent 5 hours on this particular task, and that is for the output. And the outcome is, okay, how was that particular input that you actually logged in? How was it able to affect the community or affect the task or the project that you actually worked on? So it's going to be a whole system that we're going to run by everyone. We are still working on it. Yeah. Okay, Ubio.
My concern rather is how are we moving on the analysis post the um the post R era, right? So right now it's easier for us to analyze R's and juxtapose that against the output and as well the outcome. But as we move towards um the project based this thing where we can't really determine hours that was spent, but really we are focused more on the project, right? How do we analyze to get this? How do we understand what was put in and what we are getting out as well?
Okay, for the whole structure of the project-based system, I mean, I haven't really had much insight on that, but I think with a project-based approach, it should simply be a project with its allocated budget, right? So a budget doesn't necessarily mean that it may be strict or that is what we will need to use going forward. It can be like it can be that we encountered several things that actually also increase the budget. What we want from all of this is the outcome. What was able to be like approved from this, or what was able to be achieved from all of this. So it's all about its impact to the community and everyone. Yeah.
All right. Any more questions for Oscar and Rubio? Does that answer your question, or do you want to follow up?
Not exactly, but I do understand where he's coming from. I think I'm just thinking about the constraint of analysis, especially being able to have those metadata just oppose one against the other when we are just having a blank this thing of project. I think there's just a lot in my head. Yeah, but again, let's see.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. All right. Any more questions, guys? I guess this is probably no. I'll just ask you a quick question, Oscar, just out of curiosity. You've been doing this, or I believe since the previous one, you've done this one. So, what data, or this could be for operations as well, or anyone involved in this, what data surprised you the most and why?
Okay, so I believe before the start of the second half, we didn't actually know we'll be heading towards a more development and testing phase, as the data clearly showed. So it seems the IT and the labs also stepped in to improve on most of the products that we have. So I think that is a big win for the community as a whole. That is what I think.
Yeah, okay. Oscar, still following up on that question. Do you think 19% spent on meetings and alignment is a good thing or a bad thing?
Okay, so in regards to that, I would say every circle operates differently, right? So with taking my circle, for example, it wouldn't make sense for me to talk a lot and to do less. I would rather talk less and do more. For a circle like maybe onboarding, for instance, they will need to be meeting from time to time to discuss things. So that is where they get their insight and I would say also their progress from. You can't necessarily base every circle or judge every circle the same. Everyone is different. Example, events too as well. I mean, they need to also meet, discuss certain events, how they are able to also go through their events. So it will not make sense to actually fixate the high spend of meetings and calls to just people just talking. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Ayo, please.
Yeah, thank you, Oscar. Very, very wonderful presentation. And thank you, Raphael. So, just on what Oscar said, um, I think that I mean, I was also surprised to see that we have considerable, hours going to development and testing. But I also want to say that that really does represent the way the community has evolved over the last half year, right? Because we went towards DF labs, pods, ideation, trying to create certain solutions and things like that. And there were a couple of, there were a couple of that. I don't know how many pods we have in DF labs, but I'm sure that they're not one or two or three, right? So, and DF labs was also really responsible for a lot of influx into the community. So I think when you put these together, it kind of makes sense when look at it from the lens of what the community had evolved to become in the last half year. So yes.
All right, thank you, Ayo. Julio, you put your hand up, but then you give up. I guess you don't want to say anything anymore. All right. Well, thank you so much, Oscar, for the presentation, and congrats to data analytics and to operations for this work. I imagine it's probably a lot of work to get this done. So, great job. And yeah, guys, keep at it. Well, with this, let's move on to the next topic. And we have some interesting discussions that on ethical recruitment with the onboarding circle. I don't know who from the onboarding circle is leading this initiative. Ayo, yes?
Yeah, Raphael, I'm very, very sorry.
No
I just
problem.
wanted to say that for the sake of future analysis, is there any particular type of data or analysis or story that the members would like to see from this type of analysis, right? This could also help the analytics and operations, put this together. Right. Just like you said, we had a couple of meetings over this, thinking, okay, what would people like to know? What people will be curious about? So it will just help, not to take us back, all right? If it's something people can drop on the channel or the all circles or, or something, just nice to know if there's anything else that people would like to see from this type of analysis. Yeah.
No, no problem. Thanks for interrupting. I think it's a very relevant question. And Yeah, I'd love to hear if anybody has anything to say. Please, guys, don't be shy. Yeah, there's no wrong answers. And you can come and just request, and then operations and data analytics will need to try to get it done. Does anybody here have any feedback of things they would like to see or analyzed? Well, I guess, yeah. Like Van is saying in the chat that, yeah, it's something we need to think about. All right. So, yeah, that's an option too. If you don't have anything right now on top of your mind, then please think about it. Go through, we have the link here in the chat. Go through the, the dashboard and see if you think there's any metric missing, anything that could be relevant. I would say, Io, maybe the challenge from the conversation we had before is that thing of how to associate outcomes and impact, and I don't know if we want to do outputs or not, to the metrics, but that's a really big challenge, I believe. Not hard at all, not easy at all, especially because sometimes the impact can come after a while has passed. Maybe it won't even come in the same 6 months we're analyzing. So it opens up a lot of questions on how to do this effectively. Uh, okay, Ubio is saying that it thinks the analysis should also take into consideration all the outputs and impacts from the H2 reports. All right. Well, tomorrow, Ubio, we are also gonna have these H2 reports. So yeah, but that's a good point. Do you want to elaborate, or Ayo, do you understand what Uyo is saying?
Oh, yes, yes, I do. I do. Thank you, Bill. And I was just making a mental note to say that maybe after this call, or after tomorrow's call, we'll see if the analytics and the operation circle can, I mean, put together maybe a version 2 of this. Maybe we may not present in the all hands, but we can share when we put that, side by side with, what we've done now versus what the circles, I mean, have reported as outcomes and outputs. So yeah, so I made a mental note of that. I'm sure Oscar too is already thinking along that line. So yeah, pretty much very valid angle. Thank you, Bill.
All right, awesome. And we also have Peter thanking and appreciating for the transparency reporting. So congrats, guys. Uh, the comment from Vanny. Ayo, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, Raphael, this is the last time I'm talking about this, all right? I promise.
It's okay.
All right,
There's no
so
problem.
it was because what Vanny mentioned was also something that we had discussed when the analytics and operations were talking about this, especially in the terms of how people earned less generally in H1 and then earn more now without the top necessarily changing, right? That directly speaks to onboarding, not in several ways. One, to say, now I know the community, I know the ecosystem, I know what to do, or I found my footing, or I've been given more tasks, or I've been tested and, gone through the period where they're trying to figure out if you can do what you want to do and things like that. So yeah, so I think that maybe it will be nice for the onboarding to also have a discussion about it in the general sense and see what they come up with in terms of how this interprets to the onboarding perspective. But yeah, but we did mention it in our pre meeting for this, that it speaks directly to onboarding. So yes, I do agree.
Maybe this is a collaboration where you guys with the metrics and the onboarding with their knowledge and how they're connecting to the community can try to figure it out and maybe even speak to the people and check what was the progress and how they felt besides just the metrics, right? All right, awesome. Well, with that being said, if there's no more questions, if it is, please do interrupt or comments or metrics. If you have anything to say, feel free to unmute or to raise your hand, and I would love to hear from you. If not, well, we'll move on to the next topic, which is this ethical recruitment discussions by the Onboarding Circle, or by all of us, but organized by the Onboarding Circle. And oh, Oscar, yes, go.
Yeah, I also have one thing to say, right? So I also noticed that there were quite some number of tags being logged as others in open project. So my humble plea will be to for the circles to actually reach out to operations to try and also include task categories that they deem not like is not in their jurisdiction or their specification, so the IT circle can add it to it. So we reduce the number of hours in the others. So we can actually tell where those numbers went to. So if you feel like some categories are not there, just reach out to operations so they take over from there.
All right, thank you, Oscar. So yeah, guys, if you feel you don't have the categories you need, or you need to make some changes into the categories you have, please, you already know what to do. Just reach out to operation. Uh, so I guess Vanessa has a comment here. Onboarding Circle has stuff to share soon. Ideas for how we track onboarding. Hmm, interesting. Uh, uh, yeah, definitely sounds like a good collaboration to have with data analytics. Well, awesome, guys. This is good. A good call is a call where people come and chat. So I'm really happy so far. And that being said, let's go into the ethical recruitment discussions. I guess who from the onboarding circle will be coordinating this initiative?
Well, I can kick it off for people. But
Okay.
before I do, I just want to say something really quickly about something else. It's only a minute, so
Okay.
I'm sorry for hijacking. But
No problem.
in the last All Circles, Onboarding Circle said we would like to start doing some work around looking at the community's principles and ethics. So to that end, as a starting point, we want to do a little kind of prioritization exercise soon. Kind of inviting everyone to say which ethical issues you think are important to this community. So we've got a little prioritization tool that we're going to be using. So just keep an eye out in Mattermost for that, for the link to it. And when you see it, please do take part, because it should be quite an interesting discussion. It's going to be hard to prioritize between several things that you think are important, but think of it as if you really, really had to, how would you prioritize it? So that's just as an aside. I just wanted to flag that up for people. But this activity, thanks for giving us some time to talk about ethical recruitment. Um, Onboarding Circle has been working a little bit with Seth Ugochi and the WordPress team, who've been building our new web-based recruitment process. And quite a lot of circles were involved in this in the early stages, so you'll probably remember it. It's kind of like maybe an early look at a project-based approach, I think, because so many people took part and were involved. But anyway, one of the things that's emerged in our conversations is when we recruit someone, or particularly actually when we reject someone, how much information should we record about the reasons for that decision and how should we store it? I mean, it can be really useful to record why you recruit somebody and especially why you didn't recruit them for two reasons. First of all, if they ever query our decision and say, oh, you haven't been fair, it's really good to have some evidence that we can draw on to kind of refute that. But also, it can help us monitor our own recruitment processes and check that we are addressing things like barriers to inclusion in the way that we'd want to. So it's kind of an ethical issue in that sense as well. However, doing this kind of thing can easily just balloon into this huge task that becomes a real burden for recruiters. And for circles who are recruiting. I don't know how it is in other people's countries, but certainly in the UK, it can be a massive thing. And it's like, it's just a lot to take on. So maybe we want something more lightweight that is still ethical, but that doesn't involve quite so much process. I mean, we could just record a really non-committal answer for everybody that we don't recruit, something like another candidate was better suited to the role or something like that. But is that good enough? If anyone ever challenged us and said, "Oh, I think it's for another reason, I think you've been unethical or unfair," would that response stand up? And also, just what are our ethics on recruitment? What sort of organisation do we want to be in terms of giving people fair and honest and transparent feedback? So, what we'd like to do is go into 4 breakout rooms for about 10 minutes. I think we're going to assign them randomly and just have people go into one or the other of them. And we're going to invite you to discuss the pros and cons of what kind of information we save and store about recruitment. So I think you've got breakout rooms set up. You're on mute.
Sorry. Yes. Yes, we have 4 breakout rooms. I just need to confirm. I guess we just assign them randomly,
Yeah,
automatically.
I think so, unless anybody wants to do it another way.
All right. And okay,
Oh,
sounds
but
good.
I'm
Should
just
we?
thinking if you do it randomly, then the people that are leading them might not end up in the right one. Oh, they can just hop, can't they?
Yes, I
Yeah.
think potentially better than assigning is letting it. Maybe should let participants choose the room. What do you think?
Oh,
Just
yeah, we
because
could
of
do
that,
that. Yeah, we could do that.
or we can assign them, and I can assign you ma manually whoever wants to represent.
I mean, whatever
Mm.
is works easiest, but we need to have me in one, Arabella in another, Vicky in another, and Love in another, because we're
All
kind of
right,
leading the discussion. So whatever's the easiest way to do that.
probably the let participants choose.
Yep. All right, let's do that then. All right, so if you end up in a meeting in a breakout room and there's already loads of people there, hop to a more empty one. And
So I'll should probably give you
10
each one of
minutes?
you some co-host
Oh yeah,
permissions, so you
I
can
guess.
record and do
Oh, I don't
whatever
know.
you want in the breakout room.
Do we want to record? Yeah.
I don't know. It's up to you. You tell me.
Yes, I mean, let's. I think we have to record locally, don't we, to our own laptops? We can't do it to the cloud, am I right? In a breakout room?
It's potentially, I cannot say for sure. We are recording
Well,
the
let's see
meeting to
what
the cloud.
options
I
we
don't
have.
know
Let's
if it
see
will
what it
help.
shows us when we get in there. Sorry, everyone, but yeah, we should have thought this through, shouldn't we?
Are we going to record or not? Or do we?
Yeah, I think if you can,
Ooh,
yeah.
Right. I our time is counting down, so let's jump in.
wait a minute. I'm just putting you and it's love. Where is Arabella? This is a game of trying to find the people. And it's not an easy game. It's a game of patience. Um, all right, Arabella. Let me see if I can give it to you. All right. I think you all have co-hosts, and I think we're ready to move on to the breakout rooms.
All
All
right.
All right, feel free to go. I hope the breakout rooms don't have time, or do they? They do. Let me wait. Let me just close out all the rooms, and
okay.
we'll have a good time.
Yeah,
How
because we'll
much
lose
time do
track.
you believe we should have?
10 minutes, maybe?
Okay. All right, 10 minutes. Can you just recap, Vanny, the questions that people should answer just for
We'll go
simplicity?
through the questions when you're in the room, but we're basically
Okay.
looking at what sort of information should we be recording about why we recruit somebody or don't recruit them.
And I guess how transparent we want it to be, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yes, Jan. And unfortunately, you have missed the Oscars presentation. Fortunately, it has been recorded, so you'll be able to check it later if you want to. But great to have you for 10 minutes. Well, I just need 5 more seconds to close the breakout rooms. I didn't know they hold me for a few seconds. And now let's open all the rooms. Let's re How much time do you think we should
10
have?
minutes, I think.
Just 10?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's it. I
And
gave
then we'll
11. let's
And
go.
then we'll feed back when we get back. But yeah.
Yes, sounds good. Please, everyone, distribute yourselves. Choose your breakout room. Let's try to keep an even number if we can between the different rooms.
Mhm.
I see you guys.
See you. So we have just one person on room 2. Let's increase that number, guys. Room 2, everyone. All right, great job. Now it's room 1. Room 1 and room 2 are the ones who are a little bit behind. So please join those. And now room 4 as well. All right, so we have still some people here. Priscilla, you can go too. You go enjoy yourself and choose a breakout
I
room.
want to roam in all the rooms to see what I can help them with.
That's a good way to be confused and not be able to do anything. Ubio, go as well. Room 4 needs you, Ubio, or you, Paulo, as well. And you, Marcelo, and you got Ugochi. Uh, we have also Stone. Stone, please go. All right, Paulo, thanks for the heads up and sad to hear that. Stone, feel free to go as well. Frederick, if you want, room 4 is waiting for you. Lucas as well. Go to, if you guys can, go to room 4. And you as well, Mayor. I think you can go too. And Mariam. We have Edwin, which choose a breakout room, Edwin. I'll advise you to go to room 4. Ah, awesome. We are getting 2 more people in room 4. Cool. Now we're getting even numbers. I guess now we need just room 4 and room 1 are the ones you guys should go to. You can pick. Also, Ubio, if you can, go to breakout room and go share some insights there. Oh, let's see how many. This is like pretty even. This is cool. Uh, I'll see if I can do these things. Can I? Can I send people to the rooms? I don't think I can. Ah, I can. Mm, Ubio, I hope you don't mind. I will assign you to a room if you don't say anything. All right. You didn't say anything, so you went. Also, you, Dennis, I'll assign you to a room if you don't mind. If you mind, speak now. Uh, all right.
Oh no, I think it's okay because I've been trying to join the room for like the past 3 or 5 minutes. It's just not working.
It's not
So please
working.
assign me to one. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I will. Did you got the invitation? Okay, Rubio is back. Hey, Rubio, you really missed me, huh? Uh, who else do we have? Well, I have a pretty good division. Stone, are you here? I'll probably assign you to a room if you don't mind. Room 1 is needing one more person. I think you'll be perfect for it. All right, awesome. And we have Frederick. Well, Frederick, you can choose whatever room you prefer. But I'll assign you to. You deserve it. Here you go. Then Priscilla is fine. She's in another. Oh, uh, hey, Rakosi, how are you? We are doing some breakout rooms. Do you want me to kick you to assign you to one of them? I take the silence as a yes.
Yes,
Uh,
yes, send me to one. I was replying. Yeah.
all right, awesome. Uh, I'll sign you to this one. Tell me if you get the invitation, just go. Awesome. Cool. I guess now it's just Stone, Frederick, and Rubio. You're the only ones missing. Uh, well, if you guys want to go, please feel free. I'm not gonna force you more than I've been doing. This time has been fast. Just 3 minutes left. Cool. Well, I guess some of you have returned faster. All right, that's cool. We still have around 30 seconds
Oh
for
God,
the break. Go,
I think
go.
we came back earlier.
Yes, you still have 30 seconds for the breakout room to close.
Because I saw the countdown stop and I'm like, oh God, I think we're over.
Yeah, I guess 10 minutes go by really fast. We probably need to make more time, like 15 or something, right?
Yeah.
And I gave 11 minutes, so we really need like a little bit more time.
Yeah. Ooh, everyone is here.
Yeah, I think everyone is back. Welcome back, everyone. I guess we should reflect on what happened. I'm curious. I was stuck here.
Sorry, Raphael.
We weren't even done, says Mayor. Well, I imagine 10 minutes is clearly not enough. We need to do this probably next time these kind of things with like 20 minutes or something to see if we can get everything right.
Mhm.
I mean, it's a starter, isn't it? We just
Yeah.
wanted to raise the issue and get people thinking a bit.
Yeah, but it's good, you know, people are wanted more time, so this means they are enjoying this conversation. All right, so I guess now we should share some updates maybe, or how are we gonna proceed?
I think we'll just start by, I don't know, giving a summary of what we discussed in the rooms. So, Van, do you want to go first, or do you have someone that was feeding back from your room?
Yeah, there's somebody else in our room who was feeding back, could you?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes we can.
Um, I have a pop-up saying I should join. Vicky's inviting me to room two. Do I have to ignore that?
I got that as well. I think we ignore it.
Okay. So just to summarize what we spoke about in room two. So Vanny just threw the question to us again, and Judith was the first to take initiative and respond. And hers was, well, she was talking about how when it comes to recruitment, we like I think the whole idea behind, let me just summarize the whole conversation. So the whole idea behind the conversation was wanted to find out how we can approach recruitment. And I was interested in figuring out, okay, if somebody wants to join a circle because maybe they have a passion for it or they have the necessary skills, and there's like the circles at full capacity, is there a wait list? So if in the time being there's no room, what happens to the person? Are they left in limbo, or is there a system for them to join that circle or a different circle? And Vanny said that it seems like that's the idea behind the new recruitment program. And then I think Francis asked a question about the skills, because if you're joining a circle and it requires a certain amount of technical expertise and you don't have that, do you still get to join the circle? Or if you're joining a circle where the technical expertise is not very steep, is there other opportunities to learn on the job? Vanny responded saying that it seems that all circles do have a level of technical expertise, so you need to have that in order to join. And I responded saying, does it mean that there are barriers to entry to circles? Because if somebody wanted to come on a learning experience, maybe they didn't have the education to back the technical expertise, but they still wanted to get the experience from that circle. And Vanny said there's possible opportunities for like internship opportunities in certain circles. And Judith wrapped it up with talking about budget restraints. Because obviously, if you have a circle, you can't, if everybody is interested, 100 people are interested in a certain role, you can't necessarily put all those 100 people in a circle, especially when you're considering budgets and payments. So that's just a summary of what we spoke about. I couldn't talk about everything, but that's just about it.
All right.
Very
Thank you so
much.
much. Please go, Vanny.
No, I was just saying thanks to a very good summary.
Yeah. It was great to hear you speaking, Kojo. We hope to hear it more times. So thank you for the courage and for the summary.
Thank you. Thank you too.
All right.
I think it's time for room one. Priscilla, do you want to go for it? Priscilla, are you here with us?
I can try to check if she's here.
Oh, good. She was our feedback person. Anyway,
I guess someone else needs to be promoted. She's here, but I don't know. Maybe she's not listening or she's away for a bit.
all right, I'll just go for it. Try as much as possible to say everything because I was too busy facilitating. So, the summary of the whole thing is that most people in my room all thought that it's basically human decency to kind of give a reason for anything you do during recruitment. Okay, you hired them, then I'm hoping that you do have a reason. And then if you actually do reject a person, it's decent to actually tell them why. At least give them a reason so that they kind of feel, I don't know, maybe better and maybe find a spot to actually improve on. And then there's the other part of someone saying that if your description of the job post or the job this post you're looking for, if it's detailed enough, then at least you have half the reasons to actually tell the person that they did not conform to what was in the job description. They did not fit the profile you were looking for. So basically, we do need to have a reason for hiring and not hiring. Then there's another part where we said that it's also a good idea to streamline the process. Thereby, if you want to hire someone, maybe start by posting to our community first, because by posting it to the outside community, it's like you calling for 900 participants, and then you have to sit down and give each of them that you reject a detailed reason, which is quite tasky. It can actually be exhausting, especially if it's in a company that has basically two HR or one. You're going to feel like you're about to run mad. So we should try and streamline the process. Maybe start by, asking our community members if they are open to the roles before we take it outside. That way you have a detailed reason and you have time in your hands to actually, you know, reject or hire people. And yes, Peter said something about data retention, and I remember we had something about that on the new recruitment website about how long the data can be with us, and if we want to delete it, we'll send you an email and the rest of it. There are much more things on ground for that. Just to answer you, Peter, and I think I got everything right. Please let me know if I missed anything, guys. All right.
All right,
And
nice.
that's it.
Interesting. We have a good. Great to hear you. Thank you for putting your hand up, please.
Okay, so Love, I think Love summed it up perfectly. And I just wanted to add, what I'm going to say, I'm just saying it out of feeling, not out of experience. I haven't been an HR before, right? But in a case where maybe we have about the 1,000 applicants, applying, like Love said, right? And maybe the one applicant who stood out, above them all is being selected. I know that definitely it won't be just one person who catches the eye of the HR. Maybe about some 40, 20 other members also have some skills that catches the eye of the HR. So how I feel about this is that those 40 people, maybe the company would like to give them another opportunity to reapply to other positions because maybe their skill kind of fits other positions. Maybe the company or the HR can send a detailed review of their maybe CV or how their interview went. But for the other members that the company sees, realizes that, oh, maybe their skills or expertise doesn't really align with the company. Like I said, I've had my fair share of rejection, and normally the message I receive is, thank you for applying to the company. Unfortunately, you do not meet the requirements. However, there will be other exciting opportunities to come up. You can apply again. I think that saves us some time, but it also helps us identify the people we will need for maybe other vacancies in the company.
Yeah. Good love. You gonna say something?
No, I was going to say thank you, Egu.
Now, this is a topic for a lot of conversations. I think it's a big, big topic. You know, even for us, it's tough. In the event circle, most of the times we're not hiring, and when we are hiring, we are lucky enough to be able to go to the list and check the people, and we try in many ways to be as efficient as possible, checking the people who we believe could be a best fit based on their experience, but also, sometimes there are several people who could be a good fit, and you just, I don't know, you talk to them and then you have to make a choice, right? So it's always sometimes it's not about the person themselves, it's about you're lucky to have a lot of quality to choose from, right? All right, so I guess we are missing two rooms to give us an update, right?
Yeah. So I was in room 3. This is Arabella. I was in room 3, and this is what they think about the whole recruitment thing. I will break it out in 3 ways. Someone makes a suggestion that the onboarding circle should be the main point when it comes to recruitment, or when it comes to admitting candidates into a circle. They should have a general meeting with the person or with the candidate before the circle would go on to do the interview. Someone also think that since marketing do the advert of the job interview, after the circle has recruited the person, the onboarding circle should be the one to train the candidates into the funding circle, to know the culture of the funding, to know the circle that the person is going. And thirdly, recording those that we reject. No, there is no need for it, but we should let the person know that you were not picked. And so you can try other opportunities. We should be transparent with them so that they won't be hanging in the head that, oh, definitely we'll call them. But if we pick them, we tell them that, oh, you are admitted. But if we don't, we should let them know. This is what people think in my circle. But Ayo was sharing his thoughts, and I think we went off. And so I would like Ayo to say it if you still want to go on with it.
Sounds awesome. Thanks, Arabella. Ayo, would you like to share your story? I guess you were interrupted by the time.
No, that's all right. I was saved by the bell. Arabella put me on the spot. I'm happy that I was rescued.
Oh, that's shame. I was already with high hopes for this story, Ayo. All right, you're a bit shy today. Well, if you're shy, you're shy. Let's move on. Thank you, Arabella, for the update. And thank you for putting Ayo on the spot. Unfortunately, we didn't make it this time.
You're welcome.
Well, I guess we are just missing one room, right?
Yeah, I'm here.
Awesome. Please
Yeah,
begin.
I was in room 4, and we basically talked about feedback and responses, like for being someone rejected or being accepted in a circle. So in summary, we felt it would be a great idea to keep the reason very simple and clear. No long or overly detailed comments, like just keeping it very respectful and professional. So also we felt it's important to keep It's honest, like me being honest about a decision for accepting or rejecting the said person, as long as it's work related, like keeping it very fair, transparent, and consistent. And most importantly, not giving personal comments. So that was it for room 4.
All right. Can I ask you just, Vicky, what do you guys meant by personal comments?
With the personal comments, I think someone said that I think not being so maybe rude, or you can say maybe this is the reason why we rejected you. You don't have to go into maybe detailed. You can just say, oh, okay, we rejected you for this reason, but not very. I don't know if you get me what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, not like be
Yeah,
careful how you
saying maybe,
deliver the
yeah,
feedback.
saying maybe we don't like you, or that kind of comment. So just giving it just professional, being professional.
Yeah. Or maybe even if we could do it in a constructive way, like what you could do to be there, that would be even better, right? For people.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. And I'll just ask a question to all the breakout rooms if you guys don't mind, and if there's anybody brave. Did anyone of you discuss like what is the right balance between analyzing every application, providing feedback and everything, and the resources? Because I guess if we get a lot of applications, the process of giving feedback to every one of them could end up consuming a lot of time and resources. And how can we manage all of these? Was this maybe discussed or in any of the breakout rooms?
Yeah, I think that was the reason why Priscilla mentioned something concerning kind of limiting the adverts or the posts you send out saying you need members. Maybe kind of start with our community because we're not like plenty, we're like probably 100 or so. And then maybe if you do not get someone from there that fits the job description, you could then go all out because it is hard to kind of give everybody a detailed reason for hiring them or actually rejecting them. That's just one thing to note. I think Rakuzi might have something else to say, if he doesn't mind, of course.
I like this. I like this. We need to keep putting people on the spot. Rakosi, do you want to add something?
Well, not really. My point wasn't exactly on that, but I agree with Priscilla because there's been times where adverts have been made and people reached out, right, and said, "Hey, I applied, but no one replied to me," and they complained. But it so happens that we already found somebody from the vacancy of within the eternal community. So if we're going to give privilege to people from the eternal community, it might as well just be a process, right? We might officialize it and let's look within the community because they're already abreast of Deep Funding's culture. They're already knowing what we do. Then we check with them first, and then if we don't find somebody, yeah, then we can go outside of our walls and try to, recruit outside. It reduces the friction that it creates. So yeah, I pretty much agree with Priscilla on that. And then if we don't want to do that, then we can always bring it outside. But it shouldn't be that okay, people are applying, but we end up picking somebody internal, right? Yeah. Because why did we pick that person and not the person who applied from outside the community? Is there a reason, right? We need to be able to provide that reason to the person. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Rakosi. We have a lot of hands. This is amazing. Great job, guys. Avani, you'd be first, but do you mind me maybe letting Dennis speak? He hasn't spoken today. I think
Yeah,
that's
of
a yes.
course.
Oh, thank you so much. Dennis, please.
Yeah, so I actually raised my hands when I had the prioritization of internal, like should I say recruitment? Yeah, so internal recruitment. Because the whole concept of deep funding is decentralization, bringing aboard like new perspectives. So essentially, prioritizing internal recruitment sort of goes against that. Bringing aboard new people introduces different perspectives that you might be looking for. And I think that has a higher like success rates than internal ideation, like internal recruitment.
All right. Thank you, Dennis. No, it's a good point in terms of searching to increase the diversity, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. And growing the community further because you bring somebody and you're also growing the community as they get involved. Well, I'll go with Koro just because it's also great to see someone new speaking. So Koro, and then it's you, Benny, I promise. Sorry. Koro, are you there? Or Kojo? I don't know why I'm... Kojo, are you there? If you're not, I'll let Benny go.
Yeah, I'm here.
Can you hear me?
Awesome.
Yes, we can.
So when I was presenting, I forgot to mention Judith's point, but it answers the question. So
Okay.
I think Ubio has put that in the chat also about feedback, but not just any type of feedback, specific feedback. So you apply to jobs and you get the generic. We went to this candidate because we felt it was a better fit, and if there are any other opportunities, we'll let you know. Those messages are more annoying than helpful. So at least giving feedback on those, like maybe what specific things were they missing out in the application that made the ideal candidate stand out against them. So the feedback, and also again, like what I mentioned, is there an opportunity for a wait list? Like, are they given that? Like, are they told that there's a wait list for them? Like, okay, we feel like your skills fit this circle better, so we might put you on this wait list, and they're given some reassurance. So those were it wasn't direct to the question that was asked, but they sort of
Yeah.
like linger around the idea.
Yeah. There's an interesting idea of also like like if you see someone with potential from other circle, maybe putting them into a specific position that says, well, we go through this person, they are good, we chose another, but they probably deserve an opportunity. That's kind of what you're mentioning, right, Kojo?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for the comment and thank you for speaking.
And
Vanny, please
just add,
go.
sorry, just to add,
No
and
worries.
if they're lacking some skills, then they can improve on them. Like it's like direct feedback to them. So we miss out on this, so I can go back, re-strategize, and come for the opportunity again when I'm in a better position, basically.
Yeah, like a constructive feedback of what you can do to get the role, right? Awesome. Thank you, Kojo. Vanny, thank you for your patience.
It's all right. Yeah, the question that you actually asked about how do we make sure it's not too burdensome for circles, I wonder what people think about the idea that it depends how far the applicant gets. If the circle has a look at their application and you just immediately think, nah, then maybe you don't owe them that much feedback. But if it's down to a short list of two and they don't get it, maybe you do owe them some kind of proper feedback about why someone else got it and they didn't. I don't know. And then that means that you're not giving it to that many people. But I also wanted to just pick up on this idea of like a waiting list and moving them across to another circle. When we were all talking about the recruitment process, I think we've got to be really careful about giving people the idea that it's a waiting list and that when they get to the top of the waiting list, they will get a place. And I think some kind of constructive feedback about, well, the reason we rejected you is you haven't got this skill, you haven't got that skill. It's really difficult because then if they go off and get that skill, but there's still somebody else that you prefer next time round, it's almost like you've led them up the garden path and it's quite difficult for somebody in that position. So yeah, and yeah, the other thing is like we were talking when we were actually designing the process about the idea of, oh, I think they'd be a great fit for a different circle, not ours. You don't know because like the other circle might not be recruiting at that time, and you can again raise false hopes, and it can be quite difficult to just get somebody across to another circle. So just raising some things that came up in designing the process, and if anybody's got any thoughts on those, be good to hear them.
Yeah, good questions. It's the management of expectations, so we don't create wrong expectations for these people. And then when you do have those expectations, then you have the right to feel defrauded, right? All right, great point. Rakosi, I know you had an hand up. I saw you. I don't know if you want to say something or if you if you've given up on speaking.
Well, kind of give up, but just because you called me out. No, I was just replying to Dennis that it's not something we're suggesting that we consider the eternal community first. It's not a suggestion we're making, but it's something we noticed. 4 out of 5 recruitments, JDs that we sent out, people applied to them. People outside of the community applied to them, but it's people inside of the community that ended up getting hired. So 4 out of 5 in less than 6 months, it tells us a story. It tells us that internal relations matter when it comes to, these vacancies. And so if that's a culture, if that's something that happens already, then we want to consider it, right? It's not as if we're suggesting that it happens like that. We don't want to break the spirit of the centralization, but just noticing what's happening, right? Is it a trend? Is it something we want to look at closer and act upon so it doesn't destroy the decentralization that we have going on? Thank you.
Can I
Yeah,
just
that's
ask
really
for Coach? Sorry to interrupt, but is that a fact that it's 4 out of 5, or is that
Well,
was an example?
Yeah, it was an example. I say 4 out of 5 because I think there were a few JDs last year. I can't remember all of them, but I don't remember any of them being. I don't remember any of them being any of the hires coming from outside of the community. Most of them, especially for the biz dev, I think. Most people that entered the business circle were people who are already in the community, and it makes sense. I'm not saying it's something wrong with it, right? We hire people we know. We work with people we already know. So yeah, so it's not a fact 4 out of 5, but most of them were, and I might be ignorant to the fact.
No, I think Rakosi is true.
mm,
It's very
that
true.
okay. You wanna add something, Priscilla, more?
No, I think he has said it. Even with Dev Outreach, there was a point they needed someone, and it was from the from one of the circles. And there is nothing wrong with that. If the person has the capabilities, the person has the experience and all, they could give the person the opportunity. But the case is when we publicize it and a lot of people apply to it and they kind of get rejected, it kind of feels awful when we know we can have these same qualities and experience and all in our community.
Yeah, I think yeah, it sometimes it's natural. If you know somebody, you know they can do the job. You kind of sometimes have advantage because you at least have the knowledge that they will be a good fit. But at the same time, sometimes it can come out of laziness. It's easier to hire this person I know than to go through all the applicants and give them all a chance or give them all an interview, which is then not optimal. So this is maybe something interesting to reflect on. Dennis, you had your hand up. That was perfect. I don't know if you still want to say something.
Yeah, it was I think it was answered during Vanny's last statements.
Okay.
So the I think Kojo was talking about constructive criticism or constructive feedback. But the term constructive is actually a subjective term. What might be constructive to one person might not necessarily be constructive to another person. So you deciding what is constructive to the applicant might actually backfire. It might not go the way you want it. And also, when someone is applying for the job, it's only one of two outcomes that they're looking out for. They're looking out for whether they get the job or whether they don't get the job. I don't think adding focus to the feedback actually helps the applicant in the long term. As Vani was saying, you might actually tell them to improve on this particular skill, and they might actually go and do that, and it might not necessarily help them. So being as generic as you can, honestly, helps you in the long run than being constructive per se.
This is interesting. Thank you, Dennis. It's interesting, this feedback, because it gives people another take on what you say. And yeah, there are people that, I completely agree. Sometimes you just want to know if you get the job or not, and you don't care so much about the feedback. Other times you can try, if you really want something, you can try to see if the feedback is useful and build on it. Yeah, I think it depends a lot on the individual and on the stage of their life, and on a lot of circumstances, let's say. And we
Yeah,
have two
but
ends. Yeah,
but you
go.
see, sorry, just to make one last statement on what you
Yeah.
just said. All those circumstances, all those incidents in that applicant's life, you're not privy to that detail. So you technically don't know why they are. So giving constructive criticism at that point might definitely backfire against you. Like you might give it, and the person is not in their right space to actually receive that feedback, and it
Yeah,
might actually backfire.
that's an interesting concern. It's also, this dichotomy. Like, for example, as Ubio and other people said, sometimes people just hate the generic feedback. Other times, you're right, they can hate, they cannot enjoy the specific one too. I guess it's a tough position. Vanny.
Yeah, just super quickly. I think those are brilliant points, Dennis. And I think maybe there's a difference between giving feedback and internally recording a reason in case your decision is ever challenged. It's like those are two different things. And I think we should probably do the latter. But based on what Dennis is saying, I'm really thinking, yeah, maybe we don't need to do the giving feedback in that way.
Right. Thank you, Vanny. Love?
Yeah, so still on what Dennis said, I just wanted to kind of use an example of what happened to me. So I recently got a mail or some kind of rejection mail. So like Dennis said, there are some times that I'm not actually interested in seeing what you have to say about you rejecting me. But I noticed that about three companies that sent me a mail did this thing where they gave you a generic rejection mail, and then they attached a link for you to go there if you need feedback on probably your resume or your method of application. And I found that useful because when I was done getting all moody and this, I went back to the mail to really do check what they had to say concerning my application, and I got to kind of learn, because when I saw it at first, I was not in the mood. But at least they gave me a generic response. But that attachment that I went back to read was useful to me. So I'm not saying we have to do that here. I'm just saying that it's something we can consider if we really want to try out the feedback route.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because that's a lot of the things. Sometimes the rejection doesn't come from what you know how to do or lack of skills. Sometimes it can come from how you're presenting yourself. For example, maybe you think you're presenting in a certain way, but then people are reading in a different way, and that can really mess up your chances. And sometimes this feedback can help, for example, correcting that. Kojo?
Okay. So I so when Vanny made a point saying about the wait lists. So I have two things to say. Vanny made a point about the wait list and mentioned that it's not the best to make somebody feel like they are first in line. But if that was what I was implying, I want to reiterate that it's not that you're first in line. It's presenting the opportunity to then apply again to something else. I think that's what I wanted to say about that. Because yeah, you don't want to give somebody the impression that it's for you to make them feel entitled, and then it causes another problem. And then the second thing about the feedback, and this is to Dennis, that I understand that people can be at different places in life, right? And I've personally received, like, in all my time applying to jobs, I've personally received one specific feedback. Like, this is like feedback tailored to me from a job I applied to. And I applied for a data science role, but they looked at my CV and they said, no, we think you are more suited towards a data engineering role. So I then realized that, like, oh, there's like, it's like if I've been applying for data science roles all my life and you're saying I need like more data engineering skills because my experience is aligning towards that, then maybe I should go get some training in data engineering. And that's the kind of feedback, and whether or not that hits hard or it hits home, the person who is in that phase, maybe they don't want to take that kind of information right now. They will soon accept that at some point in time, I feel. And if they don't, I don't know. Do you help somebody who doesn't want to be helped? I don't know. But I think it's more like in terms of seeing what the person is offering, as in these are my skills, reviewing the skills and saying, okay, we went to this candidate because the candidate we picked had these skills and you're lacking, maybe you're lacking, or but maybe you haven't shown that level of proficiency as compared to the ideal candidate we picked. So it's not like you're giving tailored advice to one person. It's like more like a comparison. Who was your ideal candidate and how does that compare to like the 99% in general? And then you push that out. And whether you're accepting of that information or not, it's the truth. And it's better than what majority of systems have. And it also gives you like a pathway as to what to do to become better. Do I need to add more skills? Do I need to maybe increase the number of years of experience I have on a certain skill? You know that, and then you proceed. You keep moving forward, basically.
Thank you. Thank you, Ko. There's some great points, and this is always good when people put on out their own experiences because it gives you, yeah, it gives you more information, different insights. It's not, we are not supposing anything anymore. We are actually getting how people felt in certain situations. So thank you. All right, I think we have a question from Vanny. If any circle wants to that have recruited wants to share how many applicants you were getting. Well, I don't know how many applicants we're getting, but whenever we needed to recruit, we ended up never having to do any offers. We just went to the people who applied in in the funding or even without any job offer. And we've gone through that people, and sometimes it's a lot. I cannot specify, but maybe 20, 30 people, or maybe a bit more, that you get, let's say, in a 6 months period or something, which was, yeah, which is a lot already to go through, I think. I don't know if anybody else wants to share. I guess the silence is a no. All right. All right, guys. So I guess we can wrap up these conversations for now. Vanny, love, what will be the next steps on
Well,
this? I don't
I've
know
been
what you want to say.
frantically taking notes, and I guess we'll take it back to onboarding and see if we can like come up with some kind of assessment of what was said and, not conclusions, but something to bring back to you and go, does this kind of make sense as a précis of what was said? And then we can look at, do we need to think about it any further and take any action?
All right. Sounds awesome. Sounds awesome. Thank you for organizing this, and thank you everyone for participating, for coming out of mute, for speaking. It's amazing, and we love to hear you. All right. That being said, I guess we'll just move on to the last thing, which is general updates. I don't know if we have any specific updates from what I understand. Ayo, do we have any specific thing or should...
No, no, we don't have any specific. I don't see Jan in the call anymore, except if maybe Raphael or anybody has anything to share. But yeah, it's just open space for
Oh,
general
we do.
updates.
We
Oh,
do
okay.
that tomorrow, the retrospective. So.
All right. So I guess, guys, if you have any updates, please raise your hands. On our side, well, tomorrow we have the half-yearly reports or retrospective. I don't know, correct me, Priscilla, at 6 p.m. UTC. So yeah, guys, just go there, go check it out, and go see what has been done in the past 6 months and what's gonna be done in the future. Vanny, making tough questions at this point. But this is a good question, Vanny, because if you just come to this call and you know nothing about what we're doing, the people won't know what it is. But yeah, guys, half yearly report is where we go and report everything we've done in the last 6 months as circles. So you'll have each circle talking about what they've done and what they want to do in the future. But yeah, all right, awesome. Nobody else has any more updates? Anything you want to share with the rest of the circles and the community? Well, I guess if not, thank you very much, everyone, for participating, for being here, and for making Deep Funding what it is. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye, everyone. Feel free to unmute and say bye.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Raphael.
Raphael. Thank you
Bye.
for
Bye.
hosting.
Auf
Thank you.
Wiedersehen.
Bye.
Bye bye, guys. See you soon.
Tschüss.